Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Wrestling, your news for all things wrestling. And this week has been different. As you saw, we had our breaking news video just yesterday with Cody Rhodes leaving All Elite Wrestling in what is a shocker to say the least. There is no more nightmare, American Nightmare in All Elite Wrestling. On top of that, we had Brandy leave as well, and speculation is running wild, brother, as we don't know who said what. Why is this? Is Tony mad at Cody? Is Cody mad at Tony? Does Tony want more money? Does Cody want more money? It's a lot. And then half the people are saying that someone saying that no one likes Brandy Rhodes, and multiple AEW wrestlers have come out to fight that, not to confirm it. So a lot of lazy journalism, and being someone who just reads dirt sheets and reports it, I will continue with some lazy journalism, but I'll try my best not to just slander and not to just say what I see. I read it, I take it into account, and what comes out, I'll take with grains of salt because I don't believe everything is completely true. I had a lot of good news, but I guess we'll start with more Cody. Give me it. Give me all of it. I want everything. So obviously right now, one of the big things is, so apparently he still is going to be able to run the Nightmare Factory, which is good. I don't know how long that would last once he signs with WWE. They might say you can only send your Nightmare Factory students to WWE opposed to AEW, so that could be a big loss in the AEW category due to a lot of the young stars did come out of his out wrestling school with him in QT. QT will still do plenty, but it's crazy. It's crazy to even think. Okay, so we have PW Insider kind of gives you a what went on. We have, actually, before we get to that, kind of crazy that this kind of stuff went on. And it went on. It was the biggest news until Cody got released. Stone Cold. What? Middle finger popping, beer drinking. Stone Cold Steve Austin is supposedly setting up or being asked by WWE to come back in Dallas, Texas, his home of Texas, where the Texas Rattlesnake can go and do his thing, and come back and wrestle a match. It will be his first match in 19 years. 19 years is nuts. In between matches, we think 7 was crazy. But 19 years since we saw Stone Cold wrestle. Obviously, he's come out different WrestleManias, popped a stunner, give some fingers, drank some beers. But we're talking a real deal match here. So what we have is apparently because WrestleMania 38 is in Dallas, Texas, it makes a good idea for him to do it. Kevin Owens seems to be in the lead here to be his opponent. Apparently on Raw, and he's doubling down apparently that he hates Texas and probably won't be at WrestleMania, which usually means he's going to get himself a WrestleMania opponent. Oh, hell yeah. And then he's going to get a mud hole stomped in his bitch ass. So, I mean, I'm excited just for the fact of Stone Cold. Stone Cold was like the reason I really started watching wrestling like hardcore. Like, obviously, I loved Bret Hart. I loved Shawn Michaels. The earlier, old school Hulk before the racism. But Stone Cold was that guy, he brought like everything into the mainstream, and then The Rock came along, and that whole attitude ever brought a lot of fans in, a lot of fans. But obviously Stone Cold was the favorite. The Austin 316 shirt, the what shirts, the can of whoop ass, the original SCU with the Stone Cold University shirts, and everything was the knee brace, man. Like, it blew my mind when he put a white stripe in one of his knee braces when he went heel. Like, that's like a big uniform change for the man who just wears black. So having Stone Cold back for a match, apparently. So Andrew Zarian is the one who, actually, I don't know if this was Andrew Zarian, to be honest with you. I didn't source it, but one of you guys said some good stuff. But apparently he might also, I saw on Twitter somewhere, that he might also be looking to do a program or two post WrestleMania. So we'll see. Maybe this is a comeback tour for the 57-year-old Stone Cold. You can't say much. Sting's still doing it at 60. Goldberg's been doing it. So you can't really say much other than, like, let's see how it plays out. Because him and Kevin Owens, I see that being a banger. So I'm okay with it. So then we have Andrew Zarian of the Wrestling Observer Radio said that there was a Forbes article that Tony Khan, where Tony Khan kind of put himself over as like the one-man leader of AEW, and in that it rubs some people the wrong way, including the Codyverse himself, the Cody Vader, the Cody Roadster, Cody Island, Cody Rhodes. So he feels like that's part of the fallout, but from what I keep reading, opposed to everything else, the signings of Bryan Danielson, Wade Keller said this. Now, I know people have been ragging on what Wade Keller said, and some of it is very wrong because we've had Red Velvet come out on his comments about nobody liking Brandy Rhodes and such. We had a couple people already come out on that and tell him that that's a lie and stop slandering people's names. So, again, I'm going to tell you it because it's there just in case you haven't seen it. But please take this all with a grain of salt because, one, I didn't do any of this research. I do not have any connections. So I'm just here trying to report what I see, just so you guys have the information out there to do what you will with. So Wade Keller basically says that Cody wanted top pay. So when Danielson and Punk got signed, their money obviously is a bit bigger than what Cody was making with those original AEW contracts. Now he wanted to be paid like them. When Tony doesn't want to do that. So apparently in WCW, the big thing was if you were a top guy and then they signed more top guys, the other top guys automatically get bumped to that rate. It did not work out financially for WCW. You bloated so many people's contracts that you sold to WWE because you literally were losing financially way too much. So Tony Khan has a budget. He says he has a budget. When you have a guy like CM Punk or Bryan Danielson on the market, yes, you have to run up and grab it. You have a guy like Keith Lee, you go up and grab it. Cody being one of the EVPs and stuff, he needs to, I believe, I'm not going to say what he needs, I believe, personally, that he needs to come from a side of, dude, do you want the company to thrive or not? Because like that's a big part of everything. If you want this company to truly thrive, then you need to, sometimes take that back seat and let this company thrive with these younger guys. Not obviously not Danielson, but like Danielson has one run left in him. That's what he wants to do. He wants to do like one more year or so of just full on wrestling, and he can catapult your style, your whole brand, because he's known worldwide. He has been on Total Divas. That's a whole different landscape of fans. He's married to a Bella, which is a huge thing as far as eyes on product. And above all else, the man can wrestle, and for once, he's really being allowed to wrestle. Like tonight on Dynamite, he gets Lee Moriarty. So Lee Moriarty is already a fantastic young wrestler, and to have him and Danielson go at it is going to be an incredible match. And yes, Cody put up one of the best matches I've ever seen in that ladder match. The spots he took from Sammy and putting over Sammy was chef's kiss. And we're not saying he's not good, but my personal belief is that Cody's ego might have gotten the best of him here. And if he thinks going to WWE is going to solve it, it might be. I mean, sometimes maybe that's the kick in the ass they need. They'll come in with, this is the first defectee from AEW, and maybe that will spark Vince, and things will change. Creative will change. They'll book him to be a main eventing WrestleMania against Roman or something. But so far, also I put a poll up on my Twitter at WhitePepper3. Who will Cody be facing at WrestleMania if he does indeed sign with WWE? Right now, the lead is Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins is kind of living in nowhere right now. And I'm okay with that. That would be a hell of a match, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. So please book it if he goes there. If he doesn't, I don't know what the hell you're doing, man. So he basically become a liability. Again, this is Wade Keller's words, not this guy's. But there's a lot coming into that, and I think it's it's a lot, but I'm gonna shut up about him for a little bit because, for the love of Jesus, we've said enough for now, anyway. Um, so 205 Live is no more. It was shut down officially, and now before SmackDown is going to be Level Up. So it's going to be called NXT Level Up to replace it. It's going to be a 60-minute show. So that's going to be something really really worth it. So we'll see what they do with that. I don't know. Is that going to be like a secondary brand, or is it going to be like I don't know what the brand thing will be here, but so far that's all we know. They did some taping, so I guess we'll all find out when it comes out. What is this NXT Level Up? Sorry, I am answering this really quickly. Okay. So that was Fightful.com reported the Level Up to replace 205 Live. So I'm assuming all those 205 guys, I heard it's only about 3 or 4 people left on that roster anyway, will probably just compete in NXT of some sorts. Next up, we had that Jon Moxley will be at New Japan Pro Wrestling Windy City in Chicago on 4/16 from PW Insider. So going back to New Japan to do his thing, but at least doing it in Chicago where he doesn't have to travel halfway across the damn nation. Let's see. Do I have anything else? Anything at all, man? All right. So Shida, this is from NoDQ.com. Shida kind of went on record to discuss how hard it has been for the Joshi wrestlers to adapt in AEW. Her English, which is better than most, she said, and I quote, "My feeling is that the hurdle for Japanese women wrestlers to come to AEW has become much higher. The major cause is the Corona disaster, which is not easy to finish. And it's because the AEW women's division has grown so much in the past year. AEW is an organization that is consistently changing, and the players come and go very rapidly. YouTube and TV. If you're following AEW on Fight TV, you'll notice the women's division, particular increase in the young, cute, dynamic players over the past year. At the time of the launch, the women's division was heavily relied on Japanese female pro wrestlers, which it really was. It was a lot of, it was her, it was Riho, it was Emi Sakura. There was a lot. There was a lot. Originally, that's what it was. A lot of people were really complaining about the whole Joshi movement there. But you're saying now being Japanese female pro wrestler is not as much of an advantage as it once was in the beginning of its inception, obviously. So I mean, I understand it because they said basically what else she was saying here. I'm not going to read her whole statement. It's like 10 minutes long. Is that in AEW you kind of come up with your creative, you kind of are designing your own thing, and with the language barrier and such that some of these Joshi wrestlers are dealing with, you're discovering that it's hard to even be creative because you can't always translate your idea. So like in the beginning, I guess it was obvious it was just Kenny running it, and it was all Joshi, so like they could run all ideas off each other generally. But now with I don't know how you're going to run that by one and the other if one of them doesn't speak that language and such. So it's going to be it's been harder, but I think especially someone like Shida, who's immensely talented, or Riho, who's immensely talented, will find their way again. Sometimes you run into a little bit of you run into the mud and you can't get out for a bit. And I think once Shida comes back, she's got to adapt. It's going to be a lot of adapting, but I think that she has in there to do so. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens with Shida when she comes back, because she still has Serena Deeb in her sights, which is perfect because no one is ever mad about that. Guys, I think I'm going to leave you at that. Also very sad, or I guess not sad. No, it's not like someone died, but Ali put on his Twitter, "See you in 2.5 years." Apparently, that's how long he has left on his contract, and that is beyond sad for a guy of his talent and his his talent, he really could be an asset elsewhere other than sitting in his house. So that's crap. A lot of crap to hear that, but maybe he will be in a budget cut somewhere along the line. And if they got to sign Cody Rhodes, I think we should just budget cut and get rid of Ali. That's probably what you should do. So maybe Cody gives us one last gift on the way out the door. Um, but we'll just have to see, man, because I know everybody's saying this isn't a work or whatever. This isn't. This is a shoot move by Cody, and I do believe that. But one thing I'm going to say is that Cody did say right before he left in that promo he performed on the ladder, that this is going to be a wild and crazy year that you never expected in your whole life. So maybe the Codester has something up his sleeve to somehow perform in WWE and somehow still get back out of it and come back to AEW. I have no idea. This dude is always something. But I mean, I think most likely it's just a shoot deal where he's going to join WWE. We'll get some good promos, and then he'll be Stardust. Who knows? I think it's from what some other things I've been reading on Twitter and everything. It does seem like if Vince McMahon does get him, he's going to give him a very strong push and make him a big deal. And I hope that for Cody, because Cody does deserve to be a big deal. He's very good at what he does. But guys, that's all I have for today. That is the news for this week. Please be sure to tune in tonight at about 11:10, 11:15 for me and Ryan's AEW Dynamite review right here in this YouTube channel or on Twitch if you're watching on Twitch. I think also on my Twitter it will be riding live. All replays will be right here on YouTube. Please be sure to watch, to share, to like, to follow us for goodness sake, and to hit the notifications bell. This way you can see when we go live, whether it's with Dynamite, Rampage, the news, any breaking news, and now Ryan's doing his dark/elevation highlights, kind of giving you whatever storylines came out of those shows, so you guys don't have to necessarily watch 3 to 4 hours of wrestling if you don't want to during the week on YouTube. Ryan will do it for you. So, guys, thanks again. I appreciate everything. I am Jeff of Jeff and Ryan, and I think I'm freaking out of this, John. Hold on, though. I might be out. But you keep pulling me back in. Nope, I'm out. All right, guys. Thank you again. I highly appreciate everything. And for Ryan and for me, see you tonight at 11:15.